I think it's massive that Zakee Wheatley is coming back. He was one of the most productive guys on this defense. They did lose Jalen Reed to the NFL, which is certainly notable. But like I said, keeping Zakee Wheatley around is really important for a group that does not have a ton of experience. The two guys that have the most experience are King Mack from Bama and then sophomore Devonte Lane. I would say those are probably two other guys to keep an eye out throughout spring practice, and hopefully we'll have some more answers on this position group as we start to transition throughout spring and summer. I think that this wide receiving room is going to be better than last year. I think you're going to have at least one 1,000-yard receiver in Devonte Ross, Kyron Hudson, Liam Clifford, and whoever the fourth ends up being. If I had to guess, I would probably lean towards Devonte. He's more of the deep threat type of guy. I would pick him as my 1,000-yard receiver, and he's proven that he can do it already. Don't think it's out of the question for him to do that here again at Penn State. Everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Road to Happy Valley. I'm your host, Noah Malone. So today I want to start off by talking about the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm wearing a new hat. You can get this at the psushop.com. You can find that in any of the state media bios, perfect for the whiteout, or honestly any of the other games, but go get it now. You won't regret it. So to start, as you guys hear this, likely will be sometime next week, but I'm recording this on Thursday, March 20th, which is the final day of winter workouts. There's only 6 of them this year, and they started later than usual because of how late Penn State played into the season. So obviously that's never a bad thing, but likely by the time you're hearing this, spring practice will have already started. That starts on Tuesday, March 25th, and then next thing you know, it'll be April 26th and it'll be blue-white. So just some dates wanted to share with you guys moving forward. So on today's episode, I'm going to do another position breakdown, talk about the safeties, and talk about the wide receivers. So to start, sophomore Devonte Lane's 2024 stats were 14 tackles, 8 solo, no tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception. Senior King Mack, who was the Alabama transfer, as we know, also had 14 tackles, 7 solos, 0 tackles for a loss, 0 pass breakups, 0 interceptions. And then redshirt freshman Antoine Belgrave Shorter, 2024 stats were 6 tackles, 3 solo, 0 tackles for loss, 0 pass breakups, and 0 interceptions. Those are the guys that are listed as strong safeties. Next is going to be the free safeties that I have. Starting off with that, it'll be redshirt senior Zakee Wheatley. 2024, he had 96 tackles, 58 solo, 2.5 tackles for loss, 4 pass breakups, 3 interceptions, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. Redshirt freshman Vabo Torre, I apologize if I butchered your name, but in 2024, he had 6 tackles, 2 solo, 0 tackles for loss, 1 pass breakup, no interceptions. Next, we have redshirt junior Colin Dinkins, who had 7 tackles, 6 of them solo. Next, we have redshirt junior Jashawn Green. And then in 2024, he did not have any stats. There were a couple other guys as well that were in this list that were red shirts that did not have any stats either. But lastly, there's also Braz Thomas, who's a 6'2 freshman, 3-star out of Glassboro, New Jersey. So throughout winter workouts, as you guys know, they do the competitors of the day. Just wanted to share with you guys the breakdown of who won competitor of the day throughout the safeties group. So Zakee Wheatley won it twice. Vabo Torre won. Colin Dinkins, Lamont Payne, and Jashawn Green, I apologize. They all ended up winning competitor of the day for the group of safeties. So what are my expectations for this group? I'll be brutally honest with you guys. If there was one spot on the defense that I had concerns about, it is going to be this group of safeties. I think it's massive that Zakee Wheatley is coming back. He was one of the most productive guys on this defense. Huge being able to keep that type of senior leadership and that type of production on campus and on the team. They did lose Jalen Reed to the NFL, which is certainly notable. But like I said, keeping Zakee Wheatley around is really important for a group that does not have a ton of experience. Zakee Wheatley had more tackles than the rest of this room combined. I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily if your safety is having that many tackles, but I do think that Zakee Wheatley is going to be the guy that is the Caleb Downs of the Penn State defense. So kind of like that switchblade, kind of can do it all type of player that Jim Knowles has on his defenses that we saw Caleb Downs really thrive in when Coach Knowles was at Ohio State. I think that Zakee is going to be that guy for this Penn State defense next season. He's clearly not afraid to get his nose dirty with all those tackles, and he's shown that he can make plays in the passing game with handful of pass breakups and interceptions. So keep that in mind for this upcoming season. I think this is going to be one of the more wide open position group battles that we have in the spring. I know that the two guys that have the most experience are King Mack from Bama and then sophomore Devon Lane. So I would say those are probably two other guys to keep an eye out throughout spring practice and summer. And hopefully we'll have some more answers on this position group as we start to transition throughout spring and summer. But yeah, I am concerned about this room. I just don't think that there's a lot of experience. And I think this is one of the spots throughout this roster that we really don't have a great idea who the other safety is going to be aside from Zakee. So keep an eye on them. If I had to mention a guy, I would probably say to keep an eye out for redshirt freshman Vabo Torre. He did win a competitor of the day, and it looks like he has the most experience aside from King Mack throughout the rest of this safety group. It looks like Zakee's going to be the starting free safety. That realistically leaves it open to a strong safety, so we'll see. But I don't think King Mack is walking in and being gifted the job right away. I think it's going to come down to one of those two guys, but keep an eye out as well. So we'll see. As far as the strong safety goes, I think I said Vabo Torre for free safety. My apologies. Keep an eye out for Devon Lane at the other strong safety position. Him and King Mack are going to be battling for the strong safety position. All right, on to the wide receiving group. There's so many redshirt wide receivers on this team, so bear with me. But here we are. Redshirt senior Liam Clifford, 18 receptions for 286 yards and 1 touchdown. Redshirt freshman Tasir Denmark, 2 receptions, 28 yards and a touchdown. Redshirt junior Caden Saunders, his 2024 stats, he did get hurt, so he did not have any. Redshirt junior Anthony Ivy, 2024 stats was 1 reception for 15 yards. Redshirt freshman Josiah Brown, redshirt junior Logan Cunningham, no stats in 2024. Redshirt sophomore and Ethan Black, 1 special teams tackle in 2024. And then here we go to the list of a lot of guys that are either freshmen or spent last season redshirting. So redshirt freshman Peter Gonzalez, redshirt freshman Aaron Enterline, redshirt freshman Dante Nastasi, pardon me if I butchered that, freshman Kobe Howard, freshman Matt Otten, freshman Lyric Samuel, And then redshirt senior Kyron Hudson, who had 38 receptions for 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then senior Devonte Ross, who had 76 receptions for 1,043 yards and 11 touchdowns. So the competitors of the day for this group were Kyron Hudson won twice, Devonte Ross won once, Peter Gonzalez won once, and then Kobe Howard won twice. What are my expectations for this group? Some would say that a wide receiver room that is losing both starters, the odds of that room being better are probably pretty low. Well, what if I told you that those 2 starters combined for less than 1,200 receiving yards as a tandem? I think that this wide receiving room is going to be better than last year, almost by default. I fully expect Drew Aller to be better, and I think that that's ultimately going to lead to this wide receiving room having more success. There's not going to be a Tyler Warren to rely on, so somebody is going to have to step up and make a couple plays. And I don't think that 2 guys that totaled for 1,200 yards is asking a lot from these guys that are in the room right now. I think you're going to have at least one 1,000-yard receiver in Devonte Ross, Kyron Hudson, Sean Clifford, or Liam Clifford, and whoever the 4th ends up being. If I had to guess, I would probably lean towards Devonte. He's more of the deep threat type of guy, the more of the chunk yard, more the big play. I would pick him as my 1,000-yard receiver, and he's proven that he can do it already. Coming from Troy, like I said, last year he had 1,043 yards. Don't think it's out of the question for him to do that here again at Penn State. My other expectations for this room as well. I think that last year the wide receiving room left there for something to be desired. I think that Kyron Hudson, Devonte Ross, and Liam Clifford are ultimately going to be the starting 3 guys at wide receiver. But this wide receiving group has to step up, and it has to be better than it was last year. This, I think, was the missing piece on offense. Could run the football, had a great elite tight end in Tyler Warren, but we're going to need guys in this wide receiver room to step up. There's no reason for a top 5, top 10 team in the country to not have a wide receiver that didn't have 1,000 yards receiving, especially with Drew Aller at quarterback. So I expect there to be one guy in this room that has 1,000 yards. Like I said, my guess would be Devonte Ross. The guy that I want everybody to keep an eye on for spring and summer is Caden Saunders. This was a guy that there were some high expectations for when he made his way to Penn State, and he just has not been healthy since he's gotten here. He, from what I've heard and what I've read, is finally healthy. He's feeling much better, more confident, all really important things, right? And I think that he has a really great opportunity to go out there and win a starting spot. I think that if he goes out there in spring and summer and puts together some really good practices, that I wouldn't be shocked if he is one of the starting wide receivers on this offense in 2025. So yeah, he's going to be my guy to keep an eye out on. I have much higher expectations with this group of wide receivers now that we've started to have 2 of those guys transfer. I think we're finally getting a healthy Caden Saunders. It looks like somebody's going to have to step up, like I said. Especially without Ty Warren, there's no safety valve, and I think that the safety valve is going to have to come from somebody in this wide receiving room. But my expectations are definitely that they will be better than last season. And I don't think there's any reason not to believe that if you're a fan as well. I think Drew's going to be better. I think he'll have another year of understanding this offense. And I really like the guys that we've already brought in the transfer portal, plus the guys that we have on the roster now. I think that we should expect a better receiving room. I think we should expect a better outcome from this offense passing the football than we did last season. And I already said it on the running back episode that I think there's going to be less running. I don't think both of those guys are going to have 1,000 rush yards, because I think that we're going to have at least a guy that has 1,000 receiving yards. So that's my thoughts for this receiving room. That's my expectations. Got to keep an eye on Caden Saunders. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited for spring practice. I'm really excited to see the position battles and inch closer towards the spring game and then ultimately towards next football season. But let me know what you guys think. That'll do it for today's episode. We are.